Welcome to Northeast Kansas at Home. Recognize me, I'm your host, John. Today, this is Cooking with My Bestie. It is Erin Fox.
Hi.
Hey, Erin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, today is National Grilled Cheese Day. So we're going to be making some grilled cheese sandwiches here in Erin's delightful kitchen. And because grilled cheese is a pretty simple thing that almost anyone can do, Erin's also going to share with us her recipe for delicious tomato soup.
Because what is a grilled cheese sandwich without the comfort of a hot bowl of tomato soup?
Erin is one of the best cooks I know. She makes lunches for me all the time. So when I thought, who should I trick into making soup for me? Of course, it was Erin. So.
I love soup too. I'm like a soup fiend,
So we've already got some stuff back here on the stove cooking. We've got some mushrooms cooking for the grilled cheese sandwiches, and we've got some, what do you have in your pot there?
I put in just about 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter mixed together, and I just got that hot on about medium heat because I'm gonna cook up my veggies for the soup.
Yeah, the sandwiches are really easy to make, so we're going to do those later on. The soup is a little more complicated, so we're going to start there.
Yeah. So for this delicious, it's really a tomato bisque. I actually don't know what the difference is between a soup and a bisque. I think cream. Is that true? I don't know.
We'll look that up.
I like to call it a bisque because it's fancier. Just like how we like to put mushrooms in our sandwiches. Because it's fancier.
You know, I think a grilled cheese sandwich, it can be just a fast and easy thing, but it's so easy just to elevate it just a tiny little bit.
Yeah.
I don't use the word elevate lightly or often, but in this case, I think it's appropriate.
All right, I'm going to add 1 medium onion that I've chopped pretty finely, not super fine. Add that in there. I'm going to add 1 medium-ish carrot. But you know, if you want to go large or even a carrot and a half, ain't no thing. Here is 1 stalk of celery. By the way, if you're ever cooking like a soup, you can totally use the leafy parts of celery.
Oh,
They're
really?
perfectly edible.
I've never eaten those before.
Yeah, I just chop the whole thing up for like a soup. It's fine. And 2-3 cloves garlic. Finely chopped, of course, minced. And I'm adding that all in.
So this is a lot of vegetables besides just tomato.
Yeah, you always want that for soup. Pretty much this is a mirepoix,
Yeah.
and all soups should start with a mirepoix. So I'm just gonna stir that up. I'm on about medium. I might turn it up to like a little higher than medium heat. And we're just gonna cook that for about, I don't know, till they get soft.
I'm gonna give these mushrooms a quick toss here so they don't get burned. Great. All right. Erin, what kind of soups do you like to cook other than the tomato bisque?
All.
Okay.
I have a great broccoli cheese soup recipe. I have a great like autumn harvest soup recipe with like mushrooms and squash, and there's some kale and white beans in there. I have a white bean and kale like kind of Italian soup recipe. I got a dill pickle soup recipe. I probably have at least 20. Ooh, I love Thai curry soups.
Oh yeah.
That's my fave.
Yeah.
Like tom kha gai soup is amazing.
Soup is one of my favorite meals to have, so I always am a big fan of when you make soup.
Me too. And even though it's spring now, a grilled cheese and tomato soup is like seasonless. You don't need to only eat that one in the winter. Other soups I tend to do winter only, but grilled cheese and a tomato soup is like any time you need some comfort.
Absolutely. And so I see that you've got your vegetables cooking here, so how long are you going to leave those on?
Until they're soft.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure at this point. I gotta check them. But I'm guessing it'll take at least 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for a long time.
Those still need some time.
Lots of time.
Yeah, lots of time left, but that looks beautiful in there.
It smells even better.
Yeah, the combination of all these vegetables and the mushrooms right now, that's pretty great. Good. Do you stir these constantly, or you just kind of turn them over?
No, in fact, you could leave these covered for a little bit and then come back to them and stir. But you got to keep checking just so your onions especially will turn brown. We don't want that.
Okay, so the mirepoix has been cooking for about 5 minutes. It's almost done, but not quite. In the meantime, I started making the grilled cheese sandwiches. Of course, everyone knows how to do that. Just put butter on some bread. I use honey oat bread myself. You can use whatever kind you want. Erin has chosen a different kind of bread.
Mine is La Bread Pan Toscano bread.
Yeah.
So fancy.
Her bread comes from farther away than my bread. Then I just put some cheese on it. I choose cheddar cheese because that's delicious. And then just to crank things up a little notch, have some Alouetta, which is a very special kind of soft cheese that I'm just going to spread on the other side of that bread, and that just kicks it up just a notch. So, now, Erin, this is not your first time that you've cooked on the internet.
It's true.
Tell us a little bit about what you've done before.
Oh, during the beginning of the pandemic, Drew's my husband. We were bored, and we decided it would be funny to try some old mid-century recipes. So recipes from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And make them and taste them. And so we had a little tiny YouTube run of shows called Past the Aspic. So check it out.
And so what kinds of things did you cook?
Tuna and waffles.
Okay.
We had a cocktails episode where we made beef fizzes.
Beef fizz. What's a beef
Yummy.
fizz?
It's vile is what it is.
Yeah.
What else do we make? We made like a tomato juice, pineapple juice.
No, you can't just skip past beef fizz. Does it have beef in it?
It's like beef, it's not broth, but it's something similar that they used to use in the 50s. This was over a year ago, so I don't
Some
remember.
kind of drippings?
No, you buy it canned. All these 50s recipes were like, keep it easy, keep it simple, you know what I mean? So, keep it convenient. So, so it was like real gross. What else did we do? I don't know, I can't remember all of them. They were all disgusting though, pretty much.
Yeah. So you have a YouTube channel with those recipes on them?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
This is almost there. I'm going to give it one more minute. So I guess we've done this on slightly above medium heat for, it'll probably be in totality about 10 minutes, I think.
Great. And so we've got the grilled cheese sandwiches assembled, but we want the soup and the sandwiches to be done around the same time, so we're not going to heat those up quite yet.
Right.
But looks like we are approaching readiness on everything else on the stove.
Let me show you what this looks like so that you know what it will look like. This is perfect. Do you see how there's just a tiny bit of browning starting to happen on the veggies? And they're nice and soft. You see that slight bit of browning there? That's when we're going to do the next step. You ready for the next step?
I was born ready for the next step.
So this is the step that's a little more labor intensive than just letting it cook on the stove, but not that bad. We are adding 3 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to just sprinkle that onto the veggies. This is what's going to thicken up the soup. So 3 tablespoons flour, and I'm going to stir this constantly for about a minute straight. And I have a really floppy spoon here. I should have gotten a wooden spoon probably.
But it works with no matter what kind of spoon you have.
Yeah, this one's just like bloopily bloopily.
Nice. This is looking not very soup-like at the moment.
This is how all soups start out.
Completely dry. Meanwhile, the sandwiches are there and they're waiting.
By the way, if you wanted to start all these veggies out in just 2 tablespoons of butter instead of half butter and half olive oil, you can. It'd probably be a little richer taste, but I like to keep it a little healthier by substituting in a tablespoon of olive oil mixed with my tablespoon of butter, because olive oil is much healthier. So I've stirred this flour coating the vegetables for about 1 minute. You don't want to stir it much longer than that or it will get brown and turn bitter. And now I'm going to add in 4 cups or a 32-ounce container. You can use canned too, of veggie broth to keep this totally vegetarian. If you have chicken broth, you can use chicken broth. But John's a vegetarian, so we're gonna vegetable broth it up. In addition to the 4 cups of veggie broth, oopsies, we're gonna add in 1 can 14-ish ounce can, 14.5 ounce can, I think it is, of fire roasted tomatoes. And mine are garlic flavored, which I like better.
Now, why fire roasted instead of some other kind? Because they have a million kinds.
I know, and I've tried a million different tomato soup recipes and different kinds of tomatoes in the tomato soup. And honestly, none of them have the like yummy, rich, roasty flavor that I love, except for fire roasted tomatoes. It is like the key ingredient, I think, to the whole soup. We're also going to add in 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. And every time I buy tomato paste, I only use just a little bit of it. The pro tip here is keep it in the freezer. You can keep it in the freezer for like a year and it doesn't go bad. And you just keep getting out what you need. Sometimes you need to maybe heat it in the microwave for just a sec to get it unfrozen, or you could put it in the fridge the day before if you're really prepared. So we're gonna start in the 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, and we're also gonna add in, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and that's just to bring out the sweetness of the tomatoes.
This is looking delicious already.
I know, it is. So now we are just going to, I'm gonna turn up the heat to high till we get it to a boil. Once it boils, I'm gonna turn it down to simmer it.
Okay, so you partially covered this, and
Yeah.
how long are we going to, we're waiting for it to boil.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it get a little hotter here. And now that it's kind of bubbling and moving, I'm gonna turn it down, I'm gonna turn it down to like, maybe like a 6 on your stove, just over medium heat, and let that cook for about 15 minutes.
Okay, 15 minutes, great. In the meantime, we have got a wonderful pet for you to look at while we're waiting for this to simmer. Take a look at this. It's time for the cute pet of the day. Y'all, I'm very excited. We got our very first non-mammal. Look here, this is Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn is some sort of bird. Most likely, chicken. Anne Boleyn lives with her owner, Kevin, in southeast Iowa. Anne has 20 fellow chickens there in southeast Iowa with her. Also shares the space with 4 ducks. Anne was the first chicken to arrive at Kevin's place. Apparently, his neighbor had a random one show up, and that random one was Anne. One day, she crowed. So apparently, Anne is a rooster, but Kevin says he respects her decision. Send in your cute pets! So about 15 minutes have gone by, and this is what it looks like now. It's good. Hey, that looks like soup.
Yes.
Alrighty, so the soup is just about done with its cook. So we're going to get the grilled cheese started cooking it also. And then what's the next step after this happens?
So we've let this cook for about 15 minutes. And now, if you have a blender and you'd rather use a blender, you can do that. But be really careful with hot soup and blenders. I'm gonna turn this down to like low, and I'm gonna use a stick blender that I got like 15, 20 years ago for $5, and it's been the best investment I've ever done. And I'm gonna blend it until it's the consistency that I want, which is about half blended. I like a few chunks, but nothing crazy. I'll show you. Okay. I'm just gonna like blend it up here. Until it's a consistency that is like a perfect tomato soup. A couple chunks here and there. I don't need it to be velvety smooth or anything, but if you want it to be velvety smooth, you can totally do that.
I like my soups better when they have a little bit more texture to them.
Me too. Okay, let's just see what that looks like. Maybe a little bit more. I feel like that's pretty darn good right there. Isn't that nice texture? Okay, so and that took like no time at all. It's way better with a stick blender than a real. So now that we've stick blended it to the consistency that we wanted, I'm adding 1/4 of a cup of half and half. You can also use heavy cream, but I like to keep it a little bit lighter. You can use whatever. So yeah, and then I'm doing 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm just gonna swirl that in. So now we're just swirling in that butter and that half and half. And it is done. Voila.
And that's all there is to it, huh?
Delicious,
All right.
creamy, roasted tomato bisque.
That looks great. So we just started the grilled cheese sandwiches because we didn't want them to get cold. So we're going to wait for those, and then we're going to put it all in bowls and plates.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how it all tastes.
So before eating it, obviously you always want to season your soup, and I'm going to add a bunch of cracked pepper and salt to taste.
It's all done. It looks delicious. Take a look at this. There is mine, and there's Erin's with her weird faraway bread, but I'm sure it will be just as delicious. That's going to be great. Okay, I think we're going to taste this and see how it goes. What do you think?
Yes, I'm dunking.
Going
Are
with
you
the
dunking?
sandwich first?
No, I'm going to dunk.
Oh, yeah.
Are you not dunking?
I'm going to taste it by itself first, and
No.
there's always plenty of time for dunking later on. That's delicious. I love that little extra spice that the fancy cheese gives us, the Alouetta.
That's good.
And the mushrooms, you shouldn't have a grilled cheese without mushrooms. That's delicious. Now you can always add other vegetables as well, like onions or red peppers, green peppers, something like that. Whatever you like best, put it in your sandwich. I'm going to give this soup a taste.
You might want to blow on it. It's a little hot. By the way, about a pinch and a half of salt was perfect. And I think it's about 6.
So it
6
stretched
servings.
a little farther than we thought it would.
Yeah, it's bigger than I thought it was.
That's a delicious, deep tomatoey flavor.
Yeah, it's the roasted.
And it's got
tomatoes.
just the right amount of chunkage that I like in a soup.
So good.
Yeah, so we've got, you know what? Instead of standing here, I'm going to go sit down and eat the rest of this. Erin, thanks so much for helping me cook this. Hopefully you can go have a nice lunch yourself. We'll see you again next time. And now, because everybody needs to see this, it's Past the Aspic, starring Erin as well as friend of the show, Drew, who you saw on last week's Rat episode. This is something special.
Today, Erin and Drew try Campbell's 1954 recipe tuna and waffles.
Honey, what should we have for dinner tonight?
I don't know, Pumpkin, but I'm tired of the same old, same old. I think we should make something with bread and meat in it, but we had meatloaf yesterday.
I know. When you crave a special dishy that's both sweet and extra fishy, throw some tuna on waffles. And let's throw some olives on there.
Cream of mushroom soup, olives, tuna, milk. Blend it all together.
Oh, I'm getting hungry now.
Looks really good. And just for the extra horror factor, we are doing the optional vanilla in the waffle batter. Vanilla and tuna. Waffles going down. Maybe a little more.
Waffle that iron.
Okay, we got some waffles. We're gonna slop the goo on there.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. It looks really good. I feel really great about this. Make sure to get a piece of olive.
Oh, yeah.
You really taste the olive when it hits. You know what I taste?
What?
No seasoning whatsoever, because there's none in the recipe, which is very normal.
Olives are seasoning.
I taste absolutely nothing but tuna for the whole eating it, and then at the very end, you taste sweet vanilla waffle, which don't go together at all. You'd be surprised to find out.
Okay, out of 5 stars, what do you give it?
I mean, does 1 star mean you would never eat it again?
Yeah.
1 star. You need that knife.
Can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh, baby. Oh, I got an olive.
Yeah, you gotta get an olive in that
Really
first
mushy
bite.
Oh.
Your eyes have so much pain in them.
It's way worse than I thought. There's a lot of fish.
Thanks for tuna-ing in. Catch you next time. Catch.